Hello? Hello, it's on. I asked Rich, I said, is this thing on? So yes, it is definitely on. I'm just going to set this over here. Give me a moment. Thank you so much, you guys, everybody that's here. You took time out of your busy Memorial Day weekend. You could be at the beach, you could be at a theme park, you could be anywhere, but you chose to be here. And you chose that for a very, very special reason. God has a message for you. And, you know, He laid it on my heart that I was going to speak on image. And that's all He gave me, literally. For those of you who are close to me, they saw me running around today last minute, preparing the things that God said you're going to use. And literally about 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, He downloaded the rest of the message into me. So I'm really excited to share that with you today. I'm going to speak to you about image. I want to talk to you about what the world says about you versus what God says about you. And they're two vastly different messages. And it's so important, especially young ladies in the audience, the ladies that are just starting out in life. It's so important that you understand the vital importance of this message, because it can greatly change the direction that your life goes. So because I want to make sure that all ears are opened and that everybody hears, girls 12 to 18 or 19 or 20, I want you to come up to the front. Sit up here. You can sit Indian style. It's okay. I want to make sure you're close. Please just come sit up here, because I want to look in your eyes. I want to make sure that you hear this message. Brad, Danny, hi. I want you to come up too, please. It's so important. Hi. Thank you. It took a lot of courage. Give these girls a hand. It really did. It took a lot of courage for these girls just to walk to the front of the room and to sit. And each and every one of you, it's so important that you hear this, that I want you right up here. I want you to look in my eyes, and I want you to understand that this message is for you. This message is for you, okay? So before I start, I want to show a video. It's only like 3.5 minutes. It's not long. And John, we can turn down the lights and get the video started. We're going to watch it together, and then I'm going to go ahead and...
Body image.
Important.
It's alright. No problem.
Sexy.
I mean, obviously we all come in. Body image.
Important.
It's alright. No problem.
Sexy.
I mean, obviously we all come in different shapes and sizes and colors, and you know, I think that's a beautiful thing, that we appreciate the difference, you know, between each and every one of us.
It's okay. We're patient.
Body image.
Important.
It's alright. No problem.
Sexy.
I mean, obviously we all come in different shapes and sizes and colors, and you know, I think that's a beautiful thing, that we appreciate the difference, you know, between each and every one of us.
Unrealistic.
Realistic.
It's unrealistic, but it's actually something we all live by.
You have to keep yourself together, you know. You have to look good all the time. I have a great self-image. I have a lot of confidence, obviously. Not that important.
It's okay.
Self-image, I think, is
Or if it helps, if you want to fast forward it too, you get an idea of what everybody's saying, and I'll recap it for you as well. Ben does this to me all the time, by the way, guys. Whenever I speak, I always have glitches. It's okay. Bring it on. If that one doesn't work, John, you can try the dove one. I'll go with that one as well. If this one doesn't work. It is, it's okay. Go ahead.
between each and every one of us.
Unrealistic.
Realistic.
It's unrealistic, but it's actually something we all live by.
But you have to keep yourself together, you have to look good all the time. I have a great self-image. I have a lot of confidence, obviously. Not that important.
It's okay.
Self-image, I think people judge themselves too harshly. I think if they just learn to love themselves, I wouldn't say that's the kind of corny, love themselves, but if you try to be the best person you can be, and everybody around you, you make everybody around you feel good, I think you'll have good self-image.
All depends how you use it.
You gotta be comfortable with yourself, and if you're not, do something about it.
Not just what you look like outside, it's just how you feel. So,
I think a lot of us have problems with it, and I think a lot of young people have problems with body image. I think it's you should be happy with who you are and try your best to live a healthy life. And if you do that, you should be fine.
So that is just a small glimpse of what society has to say about body image. I mean, these people we were talking to said, oh, you gotta look good all the time. And then some of them would say, oh, it doesn't really matter. But then by their actions, by where they spend their money and how much time they spent on their self-image, I can tell that it was really actually very important. And it's really almost the source of where they found their value. But let's turn real quickly to scripture and see just a small glimpse of what God has to say about body image. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 19 and 20, it says, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own, you were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your body. In 1 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 through 5, it says, your beauty should not come from outward adornment, such as braided hair and wearing gold jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. For this is the way the holy women of the past who put their hope in God used to make themselves beautiful. So we see that we're valued, and in fact we are a workmanship created in Christ Jesus, as Ephesians chapter 2 says. Also in Psalm 139, this is like my favorite psalm ever. Read the whole thing, it's awesome and amazing. If you ever feel ugly or unwanted, read this and you'll get a really clear picture for who God says that you are. But I'm going to start reading from verse 13 to 16. It says, for you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Also in Proverbs we have a warning in chapter 31 verse 30. It says, charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. So it's really clear that God values us, but he doesn't value the same things that the world values. So check out the scriptures, there's a ton more, and just be encouraged because God says that you're beautiful and awesome, and you should believe it just because he says it's true.
Not gonna happen, not on my clock. I don't care if it happens 10 times, we're gonna get this video. It was so important for y'all to hear that. And the most important part of it was the end, where it shows the truth about what God says about you guys. And we're all in different places in our life. Some of us are far along and we're close in our walk with the Lord, and some of us are probably like, well, I wonder if he even exists. Does he even know who I am? You're in all different phases, and that's okay wherever you are. The good news is that he's going to meet you right where you're at. But before I go any further, I want to talk to you, and this is for all of the little girls inside of us too, every woman that is sitting here. There's so many. God has just made me so sensitive to the women that I have encounters with. He's made me see that there's so much pain. There's so much hurt inside of us. And you know what? I'm going to tell you. He is such a gracious, loving God that he is hunting you down. He is pursuing you. He's reaching out to you and he's saying, your life matters to me. Your life, Rachel. Your life, Kaylee. Your life, Breck and Danny. You guys matter to me so much that I made sure you were here so that you could hear this message. So I want to talk to you guys about my story, a small little bit, because God wants me to share it. And what I went through in my walk, and some of the struggles that I went through growing up. kind of come into myself. You know, as a teenager, I remember feeling so confused and so lost. I did not feel good about myself. I endured certain things in my life, but by the time that I was a teen, I didn't know which end was up. I didn't know what I meant to God. I didn't know my value. And so I want to make sure that when y'all leave here today, you beautiful ladies, when you leave here today, that you know your value. You are so valuable. So valuable. So during my walk, being very unhappy, I really took all my pain out on eating. And I just ate and ate and ate and ate. And I started to gain weight very quickly. And as Debbie said, you know, my awakening was when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm 208 pounds. I was 208, I lost 80 pounds. That's a lot of weight to lose. Yeah, but, here's the thing. This is so important. When I went through this journey and I didn't feel good about myself, I was so broken down, I had no self-confidence, I felt like I had no worth, and then I get to this point where I realize, oh, it's because I'm not happy with my body image. So I'm going to fix my body image, and that's going to fix all my problems. And it is so far from the truth. So far from the truth. Because yes, I did go on, I did lose a lot of weight, I did get really fit and buff, and see these muscles? My left bicep's bigger than my right bicep. How funny is that? But I went and I changed my body image thinking it was going to change my life. And that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. If you're unhappy with where you're at, if you know you can make a change, make that change. But if you think that making that physical change is going to equate to happiness, the two don't mesh. Happiness starts on the inside. Happiness, girls, I want you to put your hand on your heart. Put your hand on your heart. That's where happiness starts. That's where it starts. It starts in your heart. And I didn't realize that. John, if you'll put up the video, the picture, please, of the girl, and posted this on my Facebook page. By the way, don't y'all leave if you're on Facebook without getting my Facebook page. I know you got it. All of these things are things we bombard ourselves with daily. They're things I bombarded myself with. I'm not talented enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not wise enough, I'm not worthy. All of these, I'm not pretty enough. These are all lies of the enemy. And no matter where you are, no matter what your body image is, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel good starting here, in your heart, if you don't feel good from the inside coming out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but I have some really amazing news for you guys today. So anyway, get all the way down, I get all buff and fit, and I think that that's going to make me happy. I even went, I told Pastor Debbie I was going to share this, I even went and started competing in bikini competitions. Not like Hawaiian bikini tropic girls, but bikini figure fitness competitions. And what they do is you go into these competitions in your little bikini and they judge you based on your physique. I know, it was crazy. It was crazy when I think about it, the fact that I did that. But I did. And I did it from the right heart because I ate clean and I worked out. But you know what God revealed to me? My last competition was in 2011. I competed about 5 times. Figure and bikini. I coached bikini girls. And my husband asked me one day, he said, why are you coaching these girls? What's your purpose, Ashley? And I said, well, my purpose, Alex, is I want them to gain self-confidence. I want them to feel good about themselves. I want them to know that they're worth it, that they can do it. And Alex, I'll never forget this. He looked at me and he's like, well, you might want to choose a different avenue because this is not the place to do it. But God had me there for a reason, girls. He had me competing and he had me coaching for a reason. Because standing backstage, I used to see the brokenness and I used to see the pain and I used to see these girls that worked so hard on their hair and their makeup and their body and their bikinis and the color backstage with him and I would see insecurity. I would see the girls in front of the mirror the whole time, fixing their suits, looking at themselves. And it was just so much insecurity. And I thought, wait a second. There's girls that look like they stepped off of a magazine. And I mean, I was in great shape too. They looked like they stepped off of a magazine, but they were still miserable. So it's a facade. That's the first thing I want to get across to you today is, yes, there are some people that are very happy because they've achieved the inward happiness. But there's also the people that they're making it, they're looking at every way possible to fix everything in their life and their image and their body and their hair and their this and their that. But they're not focusing on the most important thing, and that's what happens inside. What's coming from the inside? How do you feel about yourself? Ladies, how do you feel about yourself? If you take an inventory of your self-talk every day, self-talk, that's the voice in your head. I'm going to explain it real simply. That's the voice in your head that can see a girl across the lunchroom in a bright purple polka-dotted shirt, and you can be like, oh, hey! And that voice says, oh my gosh, what is she wearing? Hey, see you later, see you after class. Can't believe she'd even wear that. That voice that you're looking and being real nice, but she doesn't know what you're really saying. Well, that voice in your head, the only difference between you and I being best friends, Kaylee, or Rachel, or Cammie, or Brett, or Danny, the only difference between you and I being best friends and having dialogue is that inner voice that stays with you your entire life. How you talk to yourself matters. When you look in the mirror and you get up in the morning and you get ready for school, or ladies, you get ready for work and you look in the mirror, those things that you say to yourself, that's starting your day out, that's setting the tone for your day. Not only that, you're looking in the mirror, and if you cut down on yourself and you say, oh, gosh, I'm not thin enough. Oh, look at how big my butt is. Oh, all the things we say to ourselves all day, every day. I'm not any good. It's like you're saying to God, what you did isn't good enough. What you did isn't good enough. The price you paid sending Jesus to die on the cross. And like I said, we are all in different walks. Maybe there's people here who don't believe, and if you don't, you talk to me after, and I'll prove it to you. It's like saying it's not good enough. And what else happens? What else do you guys think could happen? I'm going to call on anybody who wants to answer here. What else besides that can happen? Yeah, depression. You start to believe what you tell yourself. So then we're so busy comparing ourselves to everybody else, and we start to further dig this ditch with our body image and how we feel. How you speak to yourself, that voice that you hear. Ladies, that voice that you hear, because we harbor as much unself-confidence as our young girls do. It is absolutely true. I see it each and every day. God has given me discernment. He's brought me very far since 2011. I was not the same person. I would not be up on this stage sharing like I'm sharing. I would not be talking about the things that I'm talking about if I didn't go through some of the things that I went through in my life. And we harbor the same amount of unself-confidence. And I'm standing in front of you today to tell you the dire importance of realizing that everything God did, everything He did by sending His Son to die on the cross for us, that is enough. You are enough, Danny. Brett, you are enough. Kaylee, you're enough. Cammie, you're enough. Rachel, you're enough. You are enough. There's nothing else you can do in this moment to make God love you any more than He already does. That's totally amazing. No matter how much you mess up, no matter what you do, there's nothing. So anyway, without me going too far off track, why do we have such a twisted body image issue? Why do we struggle? Well, you know what? I read a quote on Facebook, girls, and it says, comparison Listen close. Comparison is the thief of joy. When you compare yourself to other people, when you count other people's blessings, you are taking away, you are neglecting your own blessings. You're neglecting the things that God has done in your life. And let me tell you something right now, just in case you haven't been told. And ladies, this goes for you too. Each and every one of you here has a purpose. Each and every one of you here has a divine calling on your life. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're here. There's a reason, there's a reason, there's a reason, there's a reason. You have a huge calling on your life. You have an ability to go out into that world and to impact people and to change people who have broken hearts. You have that ability. That is huge. So when you go home, I want you to practice. Oh wait, I got off track. This is why, because we're so busy looking at magazines and listening to music and watching what our friends do, that we start to lose sight of the very things God has given us. And you know what? I don't compete in bikini anymore. And one of my friends that I used to compete with actually just reached out to me the other day and said, hey, I haven't seen you in any shows. Are you competing? And I said, you know, God's calling me out of that season in my life. And, you know, I realized that I was doing it for attention. I was doing it because I wanted to walk out on stage in great shape in an itty bitty bikini. To have somebody tell me what? That I have abs? Or that my glutes are nice and hard? Who cares? Who cares? And I started to realize that, oh my gosh, what I've been doing is trying to seek from the world something that the world can't give me. Only God can give it to me. That's when my life started to change, ladies. Started to change. And it was so amazing. There was a time where I would look in the mirror and cut down on myself constantly. And then, I'll never forget it, girls. There was a day where I looked in the mirror, this thing's falling off my ear. I looked in the mirror, and I'm crying, I'm bawling. And I kept saying, you are beautiful, you are beautiful, you are beautiful, you are beautiful. And you know what? Every single time I said it, I did not believe it. I did not believe that I was beautiful. But let me tell you something. Ladies in the audience, this is just as much for you. I'm really focusing on these eyes up here because they are so young and so impressionable. But it goes just as much for you as it does for them. There came a day where as I started to strengthen my relationship with the Lord, and I was like, okay, I'm going to see what this God is about that everybody's telling me about. I'm going to see what He can do, what He knows. Let me tell you something about what He knows. He's what I call a life changer. He changes your life. You know how He changes your life? Put your hands back on your heart. He changes your heart. He changes your eyes. He changes the way you see the world. He changes your needs because you stop needing things from the world that you'll never, ever, ever, ever get. And He starts changing your heart. And that's what He's going to do for each and every one of you. That's why you're up here right now. It is so important. That's why you're up here. But I started to believe it. As God changed my heart, I started to believe, oh my gosh, I am beautiful. And I don't mean that in a conceited way. But you start to feel beautiful. You start to feel good. And all of a sudden, you don't have a need to go do bikini competitions. You don't have a need to put your little pictures on Facebook. You don't have a need to do those things because God says you are enough because I said you're enough. And you don't need to prove yourself to anybody else. It's so cool when that happens. That's when you know you're really growing. You guys are just on the verge. Let me tell you something. You really are. So I want to show you this. This mirror that everybody saw out there says you are beautiful. I want you guys to say it. You are beautiful. Say, I am beautiful. I am beautiful. You are beautiful. You are loved. You are valued. You are worthy. You're smart. You're kind. You are. And I'm not just up here with a fancy dancing mirror and some car markers telling you that because it sounds good. You are beautiful. It is time we stop believing the lies of the enemy The moment that you hear a negative thought come into your head, the moment that somebody tries to plant a negative seed, I want you to visualize, you take your foot, you put it down, and you go like that, and you say, Satan, under my feet. Under my feet. Because I am beautiful, I am valued, I am worthy. You are. I'm not just up here telling you that. I know I'm acting a little crazy in my bright tablecloth dress. It is so important. If somebody were standing in front of me with such conviction when I was your age telling me that, I would have went through a lot less heartache. I would have went through probably a lot less experiences, but I went through those things so that I could be up here this moment talking to you. It's so important. It's so important that you get it. Okay. Rich, can you help me bring my... Sorry. Everybody give Rich a hand! He's been running around helping us all day. He's just totally behind the scenes. It's so great. Thank you. Can you put this up on the switch? Don't forget these things, folks. Alright. Let me move this. I'm going to get my other one out. Okay. Okay, here we go. So I got my other little visual here. This is just a reminder. Let me not fall off the stage, because that's really something I would do. Hopefully one of y'all will help me out. All right, what does the world say about us? I covered it, but I want to make sure you get it. Okay? That we're not smart enough. We're not talented, we're not talented enough. We're ugly. We're not like the next girl. Look at her body. My body doesn't look like that. You're not good enough. You're not thin enough. You're misunderstood. You're abused. You're hurt. You're worthless. If the enemy can get you to believe these things, if he can get you to believe those things, he can completely and utterly destroy your life. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you what happens when Jesus comes into your life. Okay? Whether you believe it right now or not, this is what happens when he comes into your life. He says, you are enough. You are. And I got this word sitting in the audience today. 2 words, actually. You are on purpose. There's not a thing about you guys, not one little teeny tiny thing that is an accident. There's nothing that's an accident. You are on purpose. You're on purpose. You're on purpose, Danny. You're on purpose, Brad. You're on purpose, Kaylee. You guys are all on purpose. Ladies in the audience, you are on purpose. Okay? He wipes away the muck. He wipes away the junk. He wipes away everything. And he replenishes it with more of him. All of a sudden, what the world says doesn't matter, and you start relying on what God says. All of a sudden, how you used to measure your success, you don't measure your success. I used to measure my success by, I'll be honest, I used to have a BMW 328i. She was gold, she was beautiful. I mean, she was brand new off the lot. And I used to, man, the first time I drove Goldie off, I was like, woo, I'm successful now. I felt like that. You know what? That's so far from true. Doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. Doesn't matter what kind of clothes you wear. Stress was $25 at Marshall's. I was telling Debbie. It does not matter. You don't measure yourself by those things. John, if we can change the picture, I'm almost done. I don't even know what time I started. All right, I'm almost done. You start to measure yourself by a different set of standards, girls. This is so important. You don't care what the world thinks. You start to measure yourself by what God says about you. And you know what? How do you know what he says about you? Because you put down the magazines for a second and you start reading the Word. And this might be a scary place to because it was so hard for me to understand. But as you prove to the Lord that you want to know, that you want to understand, He opens up your eyes and your ears and your heart, and He gives you understanding. You sit there like, whew, what just happened? I don't even know how that happened. He gives you understanding. And this truly is the book of life. Any answer you ever want is right here. And I'm willing to prove that too. I'm willing to prove that too. You start to measure yourself by these things. It starts slow sometimes for some of us. Some of us are really good at positive self-talk. Others aren't. We start by saying, okay, I can, I will. Others say, well, I'll try, but I don't know. The second you hear, but I don't know, say, no, I do know. I do know I can do it. I'm getting better. I think I can. I'm okay. I do my best. I like myself. I like myself. That is huge. I know many people who act like they have it all together, who look like they have it all together, who appear to the world they have it all together, and they do not have it all together. And that's okay. But that's a broken heart. And God can heal a broken heart. He took me craving attention and in a place where I was just such a mess. You guys, by the time I was 18, I had already had a baby of my own, and I had just turned 18. I was pregnant when I was 17. I gave my daughter up for adoption, which is actually y'all's age. So, liking yourself will save you so much heartache. I want you to practice looking in the mirror in the morning. Ladies, sing. And I want you to tell yourself 5 things, and I'm not up here like some self-help guru. I want you to tell yourself 5 things you love about yourself, 5 things that make you different, 5 things that make you special. Because I'll tell you something, there's a lot more than 5. I've only spent a couple of hours with you guys, and I can tell you more than 5. It's that important. Try hard. Mistakes happen. I learn from my mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen, guys. We're going to mess up. Hello, we're not perfect, even though we're girls and we like to act like it. We're not. Truth be told, we're not. So learn from your mistakes. Everything that happens in my life, no matter how painful it is, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going through trials in my life right now. In fact, this past week, I looked at Debbie before I came out here today, and I looked at Debbie and I said, I made it. I made it. Because the people who know me very, very well and know what's going on in my life, they know the trials I've been under, and they're intense. But it's okay. When you make mistakes, you learn from them. Every single thing in your life, how you talk to yourself matters. If you make a mistake, it's okay. So today, in conclusion, because I don't want to take up any more time, I want you to understand that you are beautiful, that you serve a God who loves you so much that He sent His only Son to die on the cross for you. And let me tell you something, the first couple times I heard that, it was hard to wrap my mind around. I thought, oh, that's a bunch of religion boo-boo that people are saying and whatever. And that's what I felt. And I think it's important to tell you guys that, because I'm sure there's people sitting here who feel the same way. But He's real. And He called you here instead of the beach or the barbecue for a reason. Because this message is so important and so valuable, He wanted you to hear it. You are beautiful, you are valuable, you are loved. When you go back to your schools, or your home, or your playgrounds, or your, not that y'all are on playgrounds anymore, but wherever you go, you carry that message with you, and you remember the God that you serve. And the moment you hear negativity, you visualize the foot stomping, and you smushing it. Because you are here for a purpose. And if you start believing the lies that the enemy feeds you, those horrible, crappy lies, then he's got you. And there's a whole stream of people that you may never have even known that you could touch or that you could impact. Okay? So no matter where you're at, no matter what you've been through, no matter what type of pain is in your hearts, put your hands back in your hearts, everybody. No matter what type of pain is in these hearts, God takes that pain. He can take that pain. I'm going to tell you, I've been through a lot of pain in my life. A lot. And a lot of that pain was because of crazy decisions that I made, not knowing, just doing the best that I could. He takes that pain testimony. He takes all that junk that you never think could be used, and he uses it. All right. I'm going to end with this, but I want to look, and I'm speaking to everybody in the audience, but I want you guys all to look at me up front. And I want you to remember these words. As long as you live, I want you to remember these words. Your life has purpose. You are so beautiful, and you're so smart, and there's so much inside of you that can change the world. And I'm not just saying that. You have so much inside of you that can change the world. But it starts with what's between your 2 ears. It starts with what's in your heart. It starts with choosing to believe the truth. Choosing to believe the truth. And letting go of all those lies that fill your heads. So that when you go out into the world, and when you get a little bit older, and when you guys graduate high school, you go out and you literally touch lives, and you change lives, and you leave a stream of people behind you. The impact that you make impacts the person so greatly that they impact. And that just keeps going, and people keep paying it forward, and you have that power. Brad and Danny, you have that power. Kaylee, you have that power. Cammie, you have that power. Rachel, you have that power. You guys both have that power. That is tremendous, and that comes from God. That comes from God. But you throw out the lies. Whatever it is that you came here with today, whatever doubts you had, you throw them out. You serve a big God. Whether you know it or not, whether you guys know it or not, He's big. And He loves you, and He's calling you out. You stop comparing yourself, because you were created perfectly in His image, Psalm 139. And you walk forward boldly in your lives, young ladies, because you are so important. You have such a tremendous ability to change people's lives, hurting hearts. Okay? And each and every one of you is tremendously beautiful. And I want a picture of each and every one of you before we leave. And I thank you for listening to me. And I hope you never forget what I told you guys today, because it's not my words. I'm going to be honest, I did not have anything prepared. I just had the word image and mirror and all these things. This is from Him. Okay?